accomplishments. Ladies and gentlemen, Jillian Michaels! She's here! Oh my God.
She just pushed the applause button for me.
I don't know, that's the people outside chanting your name.
Yeah, okay.
How are you? It's very nice to meet you.
I'm really actually excited to meet you.
You're a lot tinier in person than I expected, which is stupid, because you're a trainer person, and of course you'd be tiny.
I have a towering personality.
I guess it's when you're screaming at people on TV that you take on a bigger presence.
And that's all part of it, because I am so small that I lack the intimidation factor.
Yeah.
So I figure if I scream really loud and have some sort of a big stick, which is generally a barbell that I threaten people with,
Now,
I get things done.
When you started on that show from the get-go.
Yes.
From when Caroline was on it.
Yeah, many years ago.
Okay, so we were talking that initially, in the first incarnation of that show, it seemed that it was a little bit meaner.
You're absolutely right.
Okay, so the fatties would be working out, and then they would come in and there'd be a whole pile of donuts.
Oh yeah, no, it was really upsetting. It was, it was called The Biggest Loser for a reason, and Bob and I made a decision early on, and we didn't know each other at the time. We were in a competitive situation, and we both just said, this is not what this is going to be about. At the end of the day, we're going to do our best to try to help these guys lose weight, and it's going to show through, it's going to transcend. And the producers had no idea. They really didn't think that, someone would lose 100 pounds. They were baffled. And that's really where it sort of took a different turn.
Yeah, because there was a little bit of humiliation and making fun at the beginning.
Not be
right,
more
and then
right
it hurt my feelings, and I was like, I'm not watching this, and I would cry, the fatty's eating the donut, and I would too. No, you made myself right. It's hard to watch.
You're right.
Then it took a turn where it became motivational and inspirational, right?
Because they were getting criticized tremendously about the title and the temptations and all that stuff. And when there was a 100-pound weight loss, they thought, wow, maybe we have something totally different here that we didn't realize. And over time, they gradually would phase out the temptations, and they started, it's an inspirational show. But no, you couldn't be more right. In fact, that's one of the reasons I wasn't on season 3, is because I would get in screaming matches with the producers.
Really? So you were on for 2 years, then you took a year off, then you came back?
2 seasons, and I didn't do season 3, and that was one of the big reasons, is that I would just get into I would spit in the Temptations, and, they were, and I was getting lines like, you'll never work in this town again. I'm like, I'm a trainer.
Yeah,
what
exactly.
What are you going to work?
You're going to blacklist me
every
from Fat Farms? Exactly. Every
do?
gym, it's going to be the head of NBC. Hi, this is the head of NBC, and Jillian Michaels didn't follow our rules. Yeah, I can. Now, how long had you been a trainer before that?
I started at a really young age. When I was about 17, I graduated from high school early, and I had been training for my black belt, and I subsequently quit and went back when I was 20 to get it. But in that period of time, I was working out at the gym, and people would come up to me and think, are you a trainer? And I just sort of said, yeah, I am.
And you weren't.
No. I was like, how much does this pay?
Yeah.
So I told my mom, I was like, guess what I'm doing? And I was like, I'm a trainer. And my mom, of course, being the voice of reason, was like, honey, I think you need some sort of a something for that. So she got me my first little certification through a company called ACE. It was $500. And my mom, because I didn't have, I was a kid, I didn't have the money, and my mom paid for it, and I got this book, 5 inches thick. And I got my first certification, and I did it for years. I did it during the day. I bartended at night till I was about 24.
At local gyms near you?
Yeah, just different facilities, private training facilities.
And was this in L.A.? You grew up in L.A.?
Grew up in L.A.
And so you got heavy when your parents got a divorce?
I was always a little bit chubby as a kid, and my dad was always heavy, and my dad has an addiction thing, and food was one of his addictions.
Right.
And we didn't really know how to relate to each other, so food was one of the ways that we would relate. So, my mom was in school. She was going back to school. Was that when you were doing PR, Mom?
Mom is here. Everybody say hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom.
Hi.
How are you?
Hi. No, when the divorce hit, I had left PR and was going back to school to be a therapist, psychotherapist.
Right. So,
that's when it was.
And how old were you then?
The divorce hit, she was a month shy of 13. It was a terrible age for her.
Not a good time.
No.
Yeah.
No.
And that's when you start to gain weight?
No, I would go in and out, but my mom had me in soccer, then I would lose the weight, right? So it's I was periodically chubby, And then, but my dad, we just didn't know how to relate. So my mom would be in school. This is earlier though, Mom, when you were getting your first degree.
My bachelor's degree.
Yeah, when you were getting, and so like we'd be at home together, just kind of like looking at each other.
And he'd go, "You want to go to McDonald's?"
Yeah. You want to make some buttered popcorn, and we'd have a vat of buttered popcorn. It's
Right.
like, you want to go get chicken shawarmas? You want to go? Let's order a pizza. We just didn't know how to relate. And, my dad loved to cook, and he would cook pancakes. It's like, it was how he loved you.
Got it.
And so the only way he really knew how to love you.
That's what Weenie does.
I say that all the time. I love with food all the time.
My dad, he was the only way he knew how to, that and there were other things, like he rode motorcycles, and so, and that's, I took on that part of him as well, but the food thing was big. And then at 12, I was going through such a hard time, and my mom was in school, and it was something that I would look forward to.
Sure.
You come home and it's like, well, I'm going to sit on the couch and watch Punky Brewster and have my bag of Cheetos.
Yeah, or a bowl of Captain Crunch.
Domino's pizza. I would sit on the roof and eat an entire Domino's pizza. And my mom, basically at that time, realized I needed an outlet physically and psychologically.
She needed to feel empowered. She felt so disempowered.
And so you were the one who thought of karate.
Well, I was, at that time, this was now a little past the divorce, and I was dating someone, and his nephews were in karate. And so we would go and watch, and Jillian loved it, and so that's how she got into it.
Right from the beginning, you loved it.
I loved it because I was being bullied in school. My mom pulled me out of a school one day because I got attacked by a group of kids. It was awful, calling me names, throwing things at me, and she pulls me out of this school, puts me in another school, but I'm still the fat kid with the huge nose, with the braces, with the acne, with the hair this big. So it was rough. And seeing these other kids fight, I thought, I want to learn to do that. And it changed me.
It did. Changed her completely.
It changed your body and your spirit.
It took a little while to change my body. It took a little while, but there was this moment that I talk about often where I think it was my second degree blue belt test, and I broke these 2 boards with a sidekick.
Yeah.
And I went into school the next day, and I was like, who wants some of this?
Yeah, come on, bring it. Bring it.
Let's do this.
Yeah, right.
And nobody, from that point on, no one said a word
That's
to
so
me.
funny.
She
It's
took
going
all her pain,
Yeah.
and she channeled it into this,
Yeah.
into being empowered, and it gave her a focus
That's really
and an
important.
outlet for her pain.
Do you know that when I was in like 8th grade or so, my sister was in 7th, there was a girl who used to tease and pick on my sister. And the gym teacher knew that I was in a mixed 7th and 8th grade class of gym, and she knew that this had happened, that there was this big fight, and I was going to go fight for my sister, Lorraine Randazzo.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Lorraine Randazzo.
Lorraine Randazzo.
That
Well,
says it all.
Right, I'm sure she's a lovely woman and has children and may be listening.
We're going to come find you.
Yes, but in 7th grade, when my sister was in 7th, so I got into this, supposed fight, but we actually go at home. So the teacher knew, and the next